Now, I know a lot of my constant viewers here at the channel have probably been wondering where the hell I've been the last month. And truth be told, I mean, we're going to get into it right here. I said in a few of my final videos about a month ago that I was probably going to take some time off with doing the channel, and I really needed to because truth be told, since the beginning of the year, my anxiety and depression has kind of been like creeping back up on me, and it's weird with me because I don't have any really rhyme or reason when my anxiety hits, when my depression hits. I can go from having just such a great couple weeks, couple months, couple years, and then I just wake up one morning and everything just kicks and I feel like just beat up, burnt out, a whole different person. And, you know, at times I become very functioning in the sense of I'll get any obligations I have to get done, but past that, I just don't feel like doing much, and I don't really notice it more or less than my friends do, because to me, it just becomes me wanting to relax, I guess, and just like calm down a little bit, and my mind will be racing. I'll develop weird compulsive habits, like I've had this yawn for about a month and a half now, and it seems to go away, depending what I'm doing, but more or less, it's definitely a compulsive behavior because, you know, I've gone to the doctors, everything has come back fine in that sense, aside from just seeming very anxious, and I notice, in retrospect, when my anxiety hits, when my depression hits, it becomes more or less that I kind of become a mess as a person, trying to hold it together, where, you know, instead of folding my clothes or putting them away or whatever, things like that, I'll just throw stuff places. I'll leave like empty boxes places. I won't have really motivation to kind of do anything. Even when it comes to my gaming, if I get stuck somewhere, instead of trying to figure out how to get through it, I'll just put it aside and feel like it's too much work to get past it. And, you know, wanting to do stuff. Like, I become very secluded, very just agitated at anything, I think, and I just want to be left alone. I just want to sleep and or take like a hot bath or a hot shower and just like try to not feel as tense. And it's weird because I did a video years ago about living with anxiety and depression, and I guess this is kind of a follow-up on that. And I know I look a little bit of a mess, but with the whole virus, you know, barbershops aren't open, so I don't look my best. And it's just weird because, you know, I would love to blame this all on being stuck inside with the virus and all that, but this was starting to creep up a little bit before that. And I think it's maybe just overall burnout. I was putting out a lot of videos. I was in the gym. I was feeling great, though. And, like, you know, getting everything together, feeling like $1,000,000, feeling like I finally had everything going for me, and then woke up one morning and everything was just back at like 0% mentally. And I was trying to push through. I was trying to be myself, and, you know, I ended up being asked to be put back on my anxiety medication because I don't always have to take it. You know, I've only been on it maybe 4 times in the last 4 years. And it's more or less, I believe at this point, I have low serotonin. I did some research on it. I filled out some questionnaires. You know, if there were 35 questions, I fit 21 of the symptoms. And I don't know what causes it offhand because my diet's relatively healthy. I exercise. I think it's more or less just stress learns to creep up on me. And, you know, I go from, I guess it's a lot of minor things that don't really affect me on a day-to-day that just come out and just, like, at once. And it's almost like an army of just, like, you know, negativity that comes and just destroys me. And at that point is when I have to figure out how to rebuild to get myself together. Like, I was having days where, you know, my body felt really energized, but just mentally I was exhausted. And I wanted to sleep, but at the same time, I wanted to do stuff. And it's really weird in that sense because, you know, I got diagnosed clinically with anxiety and depression back in, it was like early November of 2016 when I woke up in the middle of the night having a panic attack with no rhyme or reason as to why. And then since then, I've had random anxiety attacks, random panic attacks. But at this point, when it happens, it's more or less just my body freaking out for some reason, my mind racing. But then a part of my brain still allows me to, like, comprehend what's going on. So at this point in time, when I'm, like, bugging out, I'm just like, all right, this is what it is. You got this. And I'll force myself to, like, you know, lift weights or do push-ups or whatever, just because I know if I can get through that, I'm probably going to end up being fine. You know, the medication I've been on, again, for about 2 weeks now. It's a selective serotonin uptake inhibitor, which basically, you know, stops the absorption or the reabsorption of serotonin in your brain, so it allows more serotonin, which acts as like messengers in your brain to, you know, communicate effectively. And over the last 2 weeks, I felt probably more or less starting last week. Every day I feel a little bit more like myself, which is why I kind of want to get back into, you know, doing these videos, get back in the groove of things. You know, I feel like working out again. I feel like just doing stuff again instead of just like doing the minimum to get by. And I think that's definitely a good sign. You know, I had lost my appetite for a while. That's finally coming back. And it's just, it's rough, you know, and I know a lot of people out there deal with depression and anxiety, and you know, I kind of want to make this video a little bit, you know, tell you guys what's been going on, where I've been. I'm okay, I guess, physically, right? But at the same time, to just kind of, you know, if any of my viewers or anyone watching this, you know, deals with these things, you know, hit me up, let's talk, we'll figure stuff out, you know, things that, you know, might help me that you haven't looked at, or things that might help you that I haven't really figured out, because I think when it comes down to it, especially when anxiety is more or less like a chemical imbalance, you have to find mechanisms that are going to work. And sometimes, because your brain's kind of cloudy, you don't really think things through, you know. And you know, I know some people have turned to drugs, alcohol, and you know, those are definitely not the best coping mechanisms for whatever you're going through. And, you know, there's always a way to figure out how to get things level again, how to try to figure things out, especially, you know, if this is all new to you. Like, I've only had this diagnosed for almost 4 years now, and it's still relatively new to me, because I'm still trying to figure out what my triggers are, if that makes sense, and, you know, what causes it. Because seemingly, like, the last couple months, I really didn't have anything I was stressed about, anxious about. You know, I was on the up and up, getting back in shape, going to the gym, feeling great. And then it was just one morning, like I said, it was just boom. And I don't know if it was exactly, you know, one morning, but I feel like it was probably a whole bunch of little things just creeping up on me that I never really took notice to, because they didn't seem like that big of issues. And then they just hit. You know, one thing that I always know when my anxiety's hitting is when my dreams start to get really weird, really vivid, really out there. And that's exactly what was happening. Now, the dreams, I'm not going to lie, are very entertaining to the point where I'll wake up and want to go back to sleep and figure out what's going on. But they just get weird, and that's one thing I've noticed about me. And I know low serotonin, it can be, you know, loss of appetite, loss of motivation, random pain, not healing properly, looking tired, feeling tired for no reason, mood spells, agitation, not being able to focus. And I was fitting a lot of these. You guys might have not known on camera, because like to me, when I hit record, it's almost like a stage presence that comes on. So I am speaking to you guys right now as really me, which is why you're not really seeing like that that really uppity personality right now. And I just wanted to reach out to you guys and let you know, like, you know, anxiety and depression, it's real. It's not just, you know, feeling sad, feeling down. A lot of times, anxiety, depression just happens. You know, there might be a trigger that subconsciously you're not aware of that's causing it. You know, it could be diet-based, it could be low vitamin D, it could be a whole bunch of different things. But the problem is, you know, certain people's anxieties and depressions aren't universally understood as to, you know, why they happen. Not everyone suffers in the same way. And that goes for emotionally, physically, and the worst thing about it is when it's in your own head and you feel like you should be able to control it, but you just really can't. Sometimes you need to talk to someone. Sometimes you need to be put on a medication like I do. Because sometimes it's not really something offhand that you'll have the full ability, and I say full because you can always do things to try to help yourself, but sometimes you just need that extra help, and you should never feel ashamed about asking for help. I mean, the moment I started feeling like I just couldn't do it anymore is the moment I called my doctor back up, and I was like, look, what's going on? And just dealing through it and thinking I was like sick or dying or something, which I'm a hypochondriac, so that's always my go-to is that I'm dying. And God forbid the one day I'm actually dying, everyone will just think I'm joking about it. But she immediately saw the way I was talking fast, the way I was just kind of going over myself, that it was anxiousness, it was anxiety. And I just had a follow-up meeting, a 2-week consultation that they made me do, and I could just even tell just the way I was talking, the way I was communicating, I felt a lot better. Like I could kind of tell I'm falling back into being me. It almost felt like for a while I was like, I don't want to say out of body, right? But like it was more or less like my brain was like up here, my body was here, and it just wasn't making sense. Like it was almost like a game of telephone where like my brain being all the way up here was trying to, figure stuff out, but the message was just getting lost in translation. And, being back on the anxiety stuff, it's sort of is putting my brain back together. And, the one thing I noticed was the loss of appetite, because I always had an appetite. And I thought maybe I was actually sick with something. And, just having the appetite come back was my biggest sign. Even though I'm craving a lot of sweets right now, I'm craving bigger meals, but it's better to eat than to not eat. So, I mean, that's really what it is. So, I mean, right now, I'm surviving. I am hoping to eventually, one day magically kick this and figure stuff out. I want to get back to doing my videos slowly, not overwhelming myself one by one, little by little. I'm thinking of putting one up today when I've been wanting to put up a review of something, but it's gonna, I guess, depend how I feel. I have to do a lot of cleaning because I've realized how much I've just kind of let everything just sit around and get like really messy. But for what it is, I mean, I just want to come out, give you guys this update. It's been a month since you've heard from me. Not sure if anyone was actually worried, but if you were, I'm here. It's cool. But, thank you for sitting through this little TED Talks or whatever it is. If you guys have anxiety, depression, don't be afraid to hit me up. Find me, we'll talk. We'll figure it out. Because together, it's always easier, I think, to get through something like this when you're working with someone who understands it versus just trying to deal with it on your own. Because when you try to deal with it on your own, it just becomes so much harder on yourself, on your head, your mind, your body, and it's not healthy, man. It's not something I would wish on anyone who's never suffered from it. Anxiety, depression, bipolar, all runs in my family, so I know it's genetic at this point, but it's just kind of what it is. I mean, I found, just sitting outside, getting fresh air has helped me, just being peaceful, putting my phone away, putting electronics away, and just becoming one with, like, nature. Not to sound like a hippie, but, that's really helped. Just, you're sitting outside, having the air, the breeze, the birds, it definitely mellows me. I also bought a weighted blanket I'm waiting to come in on. And, I'm just trying all these little things to hopefully figure it out. So that's all I wanted to say here today. Thank you for watching, guys. I guess leave your thoughts down below. Hopefully I do a video soon and we can catch up and, act like this is over. Hopefully. Have a good one, guys.